the next big thing. That's
exactly. Which I think is right. I think that's the strategy.
Right here.
In Whisper Nation, we'll just remind you that we're going to have the full team projections for all of these teams and all these players in our fantasy football draft kit, which you can get on pre-sale right now by going over to thefantasywhispers.com and going to the shop and clicking on that. Get the draft kit for pre-sale right now. But guys, I have a little bit of a question of the day to start us off first. One of our favorite topics each year is looking at the landscape of fantasy football, looking at the ADP and trying to understand what our favorite draft position is based on some of the mocks we do. And Josh, I don't know how many mocks you've gotten in so far this year. I know we've been on a couple with you, but I'll start with you. What have you found is your favorite position in redraft to be drafting from in 2021? Let's say a 12-team league. Where do you like to position yourself?
Really, I like picking at the back end. And my biggest reason is in the mocks that I've done of late, like, it's great to get that bona fide, like, RB1 in the beginning of the draft. But every draft I've done, and again, I'm talking about two different drafts here, you've got, like, 15 running backs going in the first two rounds. And I'm a running back guy. Like, I want my running backs to start out, and then I'll work down my wide receivers because I just feel like receiver in general is just deeper. But if I'm picking at the back half, I know that I'm going to get two guys that one very much should finish as an RB1, and the other has that RB1 upside, and his floor is still comfortably an RB2. If I'm in the top or even in the middle, I'm going to get a really, really good running back. I'm going to get a Saquon. I'm going to get a Kamara. I'm going to get a Zeke, maybe an Aaron Jones, whatever it may be. And then I'm either going a not so great RB2 that I'm probably not as high on and missing out on a wide receiver 1, or I'm going to go some sort of modified 0 RB and just stack up with wide receivers and then take some dart throws on guys like James Conner, Chase Edmonds, Gus Edwards, etc.
I think that's just really an astute observation to talk about how many running backs we are and how heavy we are this year. And now we know, I think over the last couple of years, and I think we talked about this a little bit, there's this pocket of wide receivers between like 3 and 7 or 4 and 7, depending on what you're looking at. And if we can navigate that, even if you're not an RB robust guy, you could anchor with an RB and then kind of attack the wide receiver position and then come back to RB later, or it'll allow you to zig while you zag. But I think the importance of this question is getting Whisper Nation in the mindset of, how do you look at your draft? How do you know your league mates, of course, but like, how do you look at your draft and how positions are going and allow yourself to be more flexible, be like water, as we like to say, in your draft and adjust? Johnny, what's your take on this position? Do you agree with Josh that you'd like the back end, or do you like the middle? Do you like the beginning? What's been your take in 2021, the theme for this year?
Well, I do think it's really, really interesting because my general opinion, and where I've been liking going, is that kind of back half, like that 8 spot. Because you tend to get, potential. We're going to talk about a couple players on today's show that will probably fall in that area. And I think they're steals if you're getting them in the first round, at that area. And then you're talking about, the second round. Josh was talking about the upside of the RB1s there. And then, you talk about even a little bit further down. Let's say you grabbed a wide receiver in that second round. A little bit further down, you could get these upside RB2s that have some question marks, like a J.K. Dobbins or like a Miles Sanders or something like that. But you're able to, like you said, be a little bit more flexible with that area. But I will say, of all of at least the last couple of years, there is an actual real advantage that is kind of shaping up with that 101 spot because of what there is being so much talent, in that second round, and guys really aren't sure where certain values are yet. And so it's pushing really, really good talent back to that, first area. And so if you're grabbing, I think Dalvin Cook should be number 1 off the board. But even if you take CMC and those guys are getting you, 20 plus points per game, and then you're able to double that up with, a running back that falls or a dominant wide receiver that falls. I just think that that's shaping up to be a really nice way to draft.
All I know is if I'm not getting one of the top 2 tight ends, I'm going to be tilting mad hard through my entire draft, and I'm just going to be like angry drafting the whole time.
Do you typically, like we've seen it before, Josh, this is an interesting topic, like draft day manifestos, typical like round by round kind of situation. Do you usually go in, like right now you're saying, I want one of those top 2 tight ends where I'm tilting? I mean,
I'm being facetious, but go ahead.
Okay, all right, fair enough. I
mean, look, I do want one of those top 2 tight ends. Yes,
in the opposite realm, I would say. Yeah. Do you, in the opposite of that, do you have rules?
do want one of those top 2 guys. For me, it's if I'm not getting Kelsey, I'm not getting Waller, I'm completely punting the position altogether.
Okay.
Because they provide such an advantage, a positional advantage that no other position in fantasy football offers you. Like, it's great to get that RB1, but you're always going to have RB2s or even like some deep dart throw in the later rounds that pops. I mean, look at Antonio Gibson. Nobody thought he was going to be anything, and then he goes out and scores, what, he had 14 touchdowns last year?
Yeah.
He was an RB1 for most of the year. I mean, the later injury in the season, it definitely hurt from a playoff implication perspective, but you got great ROI on a pick like Gibson. Very rarely do you get that at the tight end position. Like, everybody talks about, oh, I'm all about throwing dart throws. Every single year we talk about how deep the tight end position is, right? And every single year, it never ceases to amaze us that there's only 2 guys that we want. Like, let's be real here. So the whole big thing is that, yes, there's a big 3. Kittle, to me, is that 3rd guy. You just don't know if he's going to be healthy because it's every year it's something different. Waller has separated himself along with Kelsey as those 2 big guys. And then everybody else, we all think that Hawkinson's going to make that leap, but now he's the number 1 option. How's he going to handle
the number 2 and the number 2
and the number 3?
yeah.
No, that one's DeAndre Swift. That's number 3 is DeAndre Swift.
No, he's 4.
That's an interesting point to bring up, though. It's like the reason we think it's deep is because we all want to have all these different crapshoot guys that we want to try and make enter that tier.
The next big thing.
Exactly. Which I think is right. I think that's the strategy. Grab one of those 2 or punt the position and grab 2 of the guys at the back end that are going to help you try and do that and make that happen this year. Well, that's an interesting take. Whisper Nation, we want to know what you think. Let us know in the comments below what you think your favorite position will be to draft from in 2021. Right here. Oh, you watched the whole video? That's impressive. But if you want to learn how to dominate your draft or win your league, why don't you head on over to thefantasywhispers.com and grab your draft kit today. Or you could click the link in the description below. And if you're still not sold, check out one of these videos.